Hey, it's Mazzy and welcome back. Music, jazz, jazz vocals, jazz piano. This video is going to revolve around 3 new reissues, but I'm going to expand and do a little bit of a self-debate of the 33 versus the 45 format. Now, the records I'm going to concentrate on and then expand a little bit are Billie Holiday, this wonderful All or Nothing. This is a new Acoustic Sounds Verve series. This is an all analog cut in Salina, Kansas, the mastering lab. I believe Matthew Luthans did this one. It's not listed here, but I think he's doing all these fantastic series. I'll get into the details of these. And of course, the original jazz classics put out by Kraft. And to my excitement, they are continuing with the Bill Evans Riverside collections with Moonbeams, Bill Evans Trio, and more the expanded group with this beautiful interplay Bill Evans. Now, I know I always talk about, you can't keep these in plastic sleeves to showcase them. So right in front of you, this is the closest you're ever going to see of an unboxing from Maslow here. They do have these separate obies, which are kind of really nice. And people say, what do you do with them then? I literally slip them inside. Okay. How hard is that? How difficult is that? Here's one more for your entertainment. Those of you who like the unboxing, the unsleeving. What a beautiful cover this is. What a great series. All these wonderful records, original in Riverside, produced by Orrin Keep News. I love that original jazz classics Kraft is really kind of little by little continuing with the Bill Evans series, Riverside Records, on their OJC. OJCs originally were in the 1980s through Fantasy, kind of a budget label at the time. I'll get into these in a minute and the Bill Evans, but I think a good place to start is with this Billie Holiday. And again, as I said, this is the new Acoustic Sounds Verve series, also all analog, original master tapes. These are in these beautiful Stoughton-like jackets, gatefolds. What a beautiful, beautiful record this is. Of course, Billie Holiday continues with the Psalm books. This is a 1958 release, and the things that I love about this record, obviously her just really kind of low-key voice on here, but the 2 musicians I really adore. Now, of course, it's all around, it's a great group she has here, but the kind of sultry, reedy sound of the tenor by Ben Webster is one of my favorite, and the guitar playing, electric guitar playing of Barney Kessel on this. Great session produced by Norman Granz, who pretty much produced everything on Verve and started Verve Records. Now I do have the Acoustic Sounds 45 that came out some years ago. Now, let me take it out of the sleeve. Again, on all analog cut on this 45 RPM. Now, I'm gonna debate with myself a little bit of the 45 versus 33. I think most people who know me know what I like, what I prefer now, and I will tell you this up front. Little by little, I am getting rid of all my 45 RPM records when there's a good 33 equivalent. Now, again, it's the music first, and I think for me, again, do I have to say in my humble opinion? If I'm saying it, of course, it's my opinion. But for me, 33s are better by far, worlds apart. Now, obviously, sonics may vary, and I can see the scientific graphs that people post about the benefits of 45 and the dynamics of 45 and more dead wax and splitting it up. Now, with the Acoustic Sounds version, the 2 45s came in a single pocket. I have no problem with that. Beautifully done. The new Acoustic Sounds Verve series is a better package on the outside, but it's the music inside that counts. Wonderfully pressed, both pressed at QRP. But little by little, I'm purging these. Now, musically, you can't not love this record if you like the songbooks, you like Billie Holiday. And this is possibly a good place to start. But either way you go, these are excellent recordings. Now, recently there's been some discussion from people like Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman that they don't really feel that 45s benefit. And basically the common denominator, they say, turn the 33 up 2 or 3 notches. Now, that's exactly what I did. In fact, I felt on this, I had to turn this up maybe 2 to 3 notches to kind of equal this. But it is about the flow for me. It's about the groove. Now, the groove, I'm not talking about the grooves in the record. I'm talking about the grooves of the listening experience. How records and how music makes you feel when you like want to dance or want to sit around at a cocktail party and have music playing, and just the enjoyment of it, the soul of the music coming out of your stereo. Now, I'm not lazy about getting up and flipping a record. It's not about the short side specifically, but especially in jazz, it's about the flow of the performance. And after 2 or 3 songs here, having to flip it, just the idea of breaking that up when you want to sit and sip your cocktail, chat with your friend, or actually sit and pay attention. To me, this is more of a clinical experience listening to 45 RPMs. You're listening to your rig, you're listening, even though, yes, you are listening to music. And I know a lot of people with really nice systems really dive in and prefer the 45s. And I'm not gonna tell them they're wrong, they're not wrong. These are excellent sounding records. Now, between these two, I would say the vocals are probably hotter and brighter and more up front on the 45, but you don't miss anything. I played the 33 first. I hadn't played this in a couple weeks. Literally, I did play this when I ordered this a few weeks ago, just to make sure, to see how it sounded. And I loved it. It's excellent. But again, breaking up the flow is really important to me. One man's opinion, it just doesn't work in the long run compared to this. I played this. Now, this is a long record. I believe it's almost a 50-minute record. I had no distortion towards the end grooves. I had none of that thing that people complain about if your stylist, if your cartridge is set right in the pocket. I don't think you can have a problem with this. So between these two, I mean, I would say the only thing when I listened to Love Is Here to Stay on the 45 for the last time, and I really cranked it, it was really cool. Maybe when I did that A to B, A to A comparison, it kind of blew me away a little more than this one. But when I listened to this, there was no loss in love for the sound of that music. So all in all, ultimately, the 33 is something I'm going to keep and I'm going to continue. This is going to go in my Purge auction pile because I don't need 2 copies. I'm at the point in my life now that when I want to reach for this music, when I want to groove, when I want the flow, I'll always pick this. I'll never pick this. And that's just a choice. Now, let's go into the Bill Evans. This is original jazz classics, but it does bring us back to acoustic sounds, analog productions. First of all, this is the wonderful Orrin Keepnews produced catalog of Bill Evans on Riverside Records. What a catalog, what a wonderful catalog. This is the book. Originally, Acoustic Sounds pressed this in 2010, long before the vinyl revolution came back and the Renaissance came back. Acoustic Sounds reprinted this for the 3rd time. There's demand now more than ever. These are double 45s, 22 LPs, 11 titles. This is a massive set. Right now, to this day, on the Acoustic Sounds website, this is a $900 set. Now, I've shared this before. I did not buy this. I did not get it free, but my good friend Coffee Dave bought a copy of this from the 2nd pressing about 7 or 8 years ago or whenever it came out. And I was visiting his house one day and he has records everywhere and boxes everywhere. He gets so much stuff in, not everything is open and played. Not that he's keeping it for any special reason, but he just doesn't get to it. So one day I was at his house and I saw this sitting sealed on the floor and I said, that's the Bill Evans box. It hadn't come back in print yet. The last pressing hadn't been done yet. So he didn't really care for it, so we worked out a trade. So I traded some things for it. Now these are in a single pocket, just like that Billie Holiday record, which is fine. They're beautifully pressed, well pressed. Now, the original mastering of this in 2010 was Steve Hoffman and Kevin Gray. I don't know the different breakdown. And apparently, when it was pressed recently, the last pressing about 3 years ago, Kevin, I think, had to cut 2 of the albums again. And I don't know which ones, but that's not the edition I have. There was some issues that they had to go back and recut them because of some issues on the tape. I'm not sure what. But what a great catalog. And again, the groove of the music, the flow of the music. As much as I love this, and I played all this, I probably played it twice, everything straight through. These are incredible sounding records. This is not a video to dump on this collection or dump on 45s. Now, the only issue with this one, this is the way that Coffee Dave got it. There is a little bit of an aberration on the box, but so what? This thing is so heavy, it's amazing that it's intact anyway. But all these records are incredible records. These are wonderful records. They're full, they're rich, they're exciting, and it's beautiful music. Again, it always comes down to the music. But in the last few years, and I always hoped that when they started the OJC and Kraft started doing a few reissues of Bill Evans records, especially for Record Store Day initially. Here's one. This is the limited mono edition of Everyone Digs Bill Evans. Incredible record, Record Store Day. These were lapped up. These sold really, really well. Sold out on Record Store Day. And we saw the writing on the wall. Kraft, with the reintroduction of the OJCs, the original jazz classics, originally sort of a semi-budget label from Fantasy in the 1980s, put the OJCs out for about $2 less list price than most records back then, either $5.98 or $6.98 list, when records at the time were, I think, $8.98 and $9.98 list price. Over the last few years, OJC, Kraft, Original Jazz Classics have put these out. 33 beautiful covers. A lot of these mastered, I believe, by Kevin Gray. I'm not sure if they all were. Waltz for Debbie, another incredible record. Now, they did do one Bill Evans Explorations, and I did grab this. And as much as I like it, I'm not a fan of the one-step process for $100 for these. They're still beautiful, and if you're gonna have to do a box, if you wanna do a box, this slim line thing is fine. But when you take it out, this is ultimately what you want. And this is 33 RPM, and this is a deliciously beautiful record, and I adore it. Now, hopefully, OJC, I don't think they have issued this as a regular OJC, only this one-step process, this small batch process they do, but this is a beautiful album. So it seems that Kraft, with their Original Jazz Classic series, will be continuing with the Bill Evans, since just this past week, they issued these 2 records, these 2 wonderful records. And it seems like it's continuing. So eventually, for me personally, that Acoustic Sounds 22 LPs, 11 album, double 45 will be obsolete. In the last several days, I took another deep dive into the entire Bill Evans catalog. I adore this music. And I did do somewhat of a comparison. Again, you know, shootouts, people love doing on an ongoing basis. I just do it occasionally. And now I think I'm doing it more and more to weed out things in my collection that I don't need doubles on, or triples in some cases, God forbid. But I did get into these. Now, I love this record. This is more of a bigger band for Bill Evans. It's not just his trio he was working on for a while. Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Jim Hall, great guitar player. Bill Evans, of course, Percy Heath on bass, and Philly Joe Jones. And I did compare it to the Acoustic Sounds 45 RPM. Now, again, turning this up 2 or 3 notches, it came very close to this. If I wasn't doing a back-to-back comparison, there would be no longing for something else. But in this case, I went for this box set for my friend, and I really kind of lusted after it for a while, not wanting to pay the $900 or wait till it was reissued, but having an opportunity to grab it because I didn't have this entire catalog. I had a few of the 1980s OJCs. I have a couple of originals, and that's it. The 80s OJCs are incredible records. And if you have those, you probably don't need these new OJCs. Although when I've listened to those compared to the new ones, there is improvement in the new ones. In terms of the 45s over the 33s, to me, any improvement you might have on one album or the other is not that great. And in fact, at this point, these new cuts that Kevin Gray has done on the OJCs are from his new rig, his new system. This is about the music. This is about the flow. This is about the beauty. This is about the groove, grooving with this music. The other record here, Moonbeams, also I did a comparison. Now, this is a beautiful record. This is after Scott LaFaro unfortunately died in a car crash. Bill Evans retreated in 1962 and put out this album with Chuck Israel replacing on bass. Now, you can't replace someone you really care about, but you want to keep going as a musician. So this is a beautiful introspective album, really wonderfully recorded. You can kind of almost feel the emotion that Bill was probably going to when he recorded this. Now, I have an early or even original. I'm not quite sure if this is the original. Again, this is a crispy critter, not totally quiet, but I'll probably eventually get rid of it just because it's worth something to a collector who wants that. And for me, it's more about the music. As great as this sounds, as great as the music is, not being so quiet is a factor in my listening experience. And having something like this that, you know, cutting from the tapes today and for new equipment, you get a richer, fuller bottom and mid-range, I think, on this over the original. But obviously, originals are a whole different beast, and I'm not here to debate the validity of that, because if you're into originals, that's your thing, all the power. But between this and the 45 version, hands down, the 33 works for me. Again, it's the flow. The sound, too, is not that different, and the 45 is not dramatically better for me. In fact, it depends on the track sometimes or the LP. So instead of pulling out this record and that record and one of this box and one out of the 33, I will be pushing away most of the 45s in my collection. Little by little, I'm doing it. I'm doing it on the Doors records because of those Rhino Hi-Fi. Now there's probably one Doors record I like slightly better than the Hi-Fi for certain reasons. But all in all, the way I listen to the music is the flow, the mood, the continuity of a record. So the Bill Evans OJCs are the sweet spot for me in this wonderful music. And the same with the Acoustic Sounds Verve series. Highly recommend this record. If you have no Billie Holiday, this one would be a great one to jump into. Really nice recording from 1958. Just such beautiful music. And these records, the cover stock, the pressings on all these are just beautiful. Music shouldn't be a competition, and it's not the music that I'm competing, but it's about the format. And you know, others would argue that, well, wait a second, in a compact disc, you don't have any breakup. It's a whole different beast. I'm still, as much as I like compact discs, I'm still prefer the vinyl on this type of music here. And I do have some of these Bill Evans. In fact, I have a lot of these Bill Evans on compact disc. And when I play them, if I do play them back to back, I still prefer the vinyl over the compact disc. Although when I'm working and doing things and not really paying attention, CDs are fine. So thanks for watching again. Put your comments below. If you're someone that wants to stick with the 45s, I'm gonna have that Bill Evans box available, and you know, it'll be cheaper than you can get it online, probably. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I really appreciate it. Mazzy loves you.